there. I'm Liz from Augusta. I'm the operations manager of our Bellingham location as well as the facilitator of communication for our team. And today I have somebody very special with me. This is Josh Rivas, who many of you know, and we started together 4 years ago. So we've been along for the whole journey of Augusta, which a massive amount of things have happened in the last 4 years. And I just wanted to go over with Josh from the time he came on all the way up till now and all that's going on to kind of share the journey as I've been doing on my channel here. So Josh started 4 years ago at our Bellingham shop where we had materials, Blaine, and we've moved to our bigger Bellingham shop now. But in Blaine is where we started. And what was it like when you first started? Like how many employees were there and what was it kind of like at Augusta?
Yeah, so you and I started the first day because there was no office person beforehand. So you started in the office, but before that it was Mike, our friend Nathan, and my brother Andrew, who was out in the field. And Mike was trying to get out of the field and doing like the office stuff at that point. So then it was Andrew, Nathan, and I out in the field, and then you taking over in the office, and then Mike being able to go out and do more estimates and stuff. We had 2 trucks and to mow with, and 2 trailers, and yeah, that was our setup. We had 1 dump truck to do deliveries for.
Yeah, and I think we had a blue Holland tractor to load materials. And it had no thing on the back to give weight. And I remember, you can tell us about the first time I did a mulch load for you guys to go deliver.
Yeah, that was my first mulch install I ever did, and you did. You scooped all the rocks from the bottom of the bin.
I had no clue.
And got it mixed in with the mulch. Then the customer called us back and was like, "There's rocks everywhere in my mulch." We had to go back and pick them out by hand. Good time.
Yeah, so we've learned a lot. I remember when Josh loaded limestone for the first time.
In the rain.
Yeah, and he went up in the dump truck and then it dumped back on you. Do you remember that?
I tipped forward.
On the dump truck.
There was too much weight, so we just got the dump truck painted with our logo, and I came scraping down the side with the bucket, tore the headlight off the skid steer, and took some of the paint off the new truck.
Yeah, good time. We've come a long ways. So Mike is an entrepreneur, and he is a shaker and has lots of ideas. And so in the beginning, we came on board, and Mike was trying to do everything. He was trying to do the estimates, the deliveries, and so he had me come to be in the office, and then he had added Josh in the field, and before that it was just him and Nathan, and he was trying to do estimates on his computer on the seat beside him. And then so Josh and I came on at the same time, and Mike was trying to teach him in the field, teach me everything in the office, plus Mike was figuring out everything himself. And so this was the humble beginnings, which we will always cherish because we've grown so much since then. And in the beginning, when you first started, did Mike go on routes with you to teach you all the properties? And
no, because we only had like 50, I think we had like 50 weekly properties and like 75 bi-weekly properties at that time. And so it was more than enough. The field crew could handle it pretty easily. And so Mike was already out of the field at that point. I worked with Mike like my first day. He kind of showed me how to do the mower and stuff like that. And then the next day I went out with Nathan. He was really the one that taught me all the property stuff. Mike was already out being able to do estimates and stuff because we were freeing him up for that by being able to do the field work. So went out, learned the properties, and that first year was nice. Like with that few customers, I knew all the routes. I never had to use Google Maps. I knew almost all their addresses. Like if you said an address, I knew where it was. That was a good year.
Yeah, so there was about 50 people I think we had, and the next year we tripled that. We were 150 customers the next year, and now 4 summers later we have 500 recurring mowing customers, and that is
crazy.
Just the mowing. And so there's no way you know all the properties now. No. Now, so did we use software, or did you just have them written down?
That was the time, because now we have like the maps and everything like integrated into the software. Then it was just you got your paper clipboard with your mows. If it was on 1 page, you knew it'd probably be a pretty short day. If it was 2 pages, you knew it was a normal day. And if it flipped to that 3rd page, you're like, we're gonna be working all day.
Yeah, and that was the times like it was only us,
simple,
and it was all dependent on us.
Paper clipboard. If we had to make a note for the customer, we wrote it down. And then when we got back to the office, we gave it to Liz, and she put that into their customer profile. There was no app to put any notes or anything like that. Just caveman age stuff there.
Yeah, so what software were we using then? I think it was Lawn Pro.
think it was Lawn Pro,
Yep.
and then I can't remember the one we were using to clock in and out, but we were using
On the clock, I think.
On the clock,
Yeah.
We used on the clock to clock in and out, and the only thing I liked about that one was you could see how many hours you had worked on
Yeah,
it, which
yeah.
you can't do right now. But that's the only
Right.
thing
And now
I don't
you
miss
have an
about
app
that.
on your phone with Service Autopilot, so it's all integrated with the office
all
and
in
with
one, yeah.
notes and everything.
And
So
so
that's
much,
really
so
nice.
much more real time. You don't have to carry a clipboard around. Remember rainy days, the paper would get
Right.
destroyed, or you'd just lose it. You wouldn't have a pen or something like that. So
Right.
it's come a long way.
Yeah, so we're pretty privileged because we've grown in technology as well, and keeping up with the times. And as I said, Mike always has a lot of ideas, and so Josh and I have been the guinea pigs
Yep.
and the subjects of lots of we're trying this tomorrow. And one thing we tried one year to keep the guys busy in the winters, we started a Pro Labor Services, which was a handyman thing. And to give you an idea of how it went, Mike came in, he's like, hey, I had this idea. And in 5 minutes, we had our business plan. By the weekend, he had a website built and up, and we were starting it the next day. And it was a whole nother thing that we were trying to integrate along with everything else we were trying to do. So you came in April.
Yep.
And then by the next season, how much had changed?
Yeah, so I came in April. That June, Andrew got injured, and so he was out for the rest of the year, and then ended up coming back. And then Nathan left that December. So it was just you, Mike, and I.
Throughout that winter.
Yeah, throughout that winter.
Yeah.
It's just three of us. So then we hired more people. We hired 2 or 3 more people in the spring. And then that's when we kind of really started to grow. But it was tough because I kind of still felt like the new person.
Yeah.
And then I had the responsibility of training these people, showing them the properties,
Yeah.
showing them how we do things and stuff. So it was pretty tough at that point.
Yeah.
But they ended up becoming solid members of the team. So then they were able to kind of take, some of the weight off that when we hired more people.
And
in
I
the future.
remember our hiring process was a career fair, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So we would put it out on Craigslist, and we would actually have a meeting with like 15 people.
Okay.
And then we've tried so many different things we had the thing where they would come to the meeting, and then depending on how the meeting came, they'd come for a work day, and our employees could kind of vet them and see how they went. We did like a 3-tiered process. We decided that wouldn't work because we got some great people.
Yeah.
But after that, we got. Yeah, it was one of the things we tried, and we decided to go in a different route. But yeah, that was one of the original hiring processes. But we got some good people from that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and over time, though, as you look at a career at Augusta, did you get frustrated and be thinking like, it's kind of like a job that's just an entry level, you would think, in landscaping. There's a high turnover. And you would think, people are not going to be here long, and then they're going to go on to something else.
Yeah.
But how did Mike handle that and give us some kind of incentive to maybe want to stay?
Well, I noticed he was always pouring back the money that the company was making into the company. So we're constantly growing, and there was more like leadership positions opening up. We were taking on bigger projects and getting the company was consistently growing. So then I started, kind of like overseeing more people and training more people. So I wasn't just out mowing lawns. I was training people and doing stuff like that. So I've kind of my mindset was, every year I saw it growing more. So I figured it's just gonna keep going,
Yeah.
So that I really liked because Mike was always putting back into the company instead of just taking from it and not letting the employees grow. And he was always trying to find new ways for the employees to not just get stuck doing the same thing over and over again. So, and I think that was real good. He would have the offsite meetings and stuff, which we still do. We'd put forth the vision of the company, so the employees could see, where we were heading.
Right.
So they wouldn't think we're just stuck in the same route over and over again.
Yeah. So were there times days when it got really long and rough, and you're like, I definitely don't want to do this?
Usually in spring.
Yeah.
Usually in spring, between March and May. And it's just, you're in the mud, the wind's raining,
right,
going sideways, and you're just like, why am I out here cutting someone's lawn in these conditions? People are looking at you like you're crazy.
So it probably helped to have the team meeting right before we got into that.
Definitely.
To give you a bigger vision.
Right. It wasn't just like a shot in the arm. It was like clouds and dirt,
yeah, exactly.
You could see the vision, but then you had to work.
Yeah, in the grind.
To get there. So And every year, and so Mike and I are working towards, like me being in the media and stuff. That's kind of finally coming after like 4 years. And
so how did that kind of come about?
Right. So that was in 2018 at one of our offsite meetings. He mentioned something that there might be a position with the media in the future. He'd need someone to do that. I mentioned, like, if you want to make more money, find someone to take like off the owner's plate.
Oh,
and
I
know he did a lot of media stuff. So I always had an interest in media. So I just bought my first camera. So I reached out to him and asked if there'd be anywhere in the company that I could do media stuff. So that's kind of the genesis of that. And then we started working on ideas and working towards that. And then eventually the idea came around, that I would be doing that full time. So that we've been working for that towards that for about 2 years now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And so as you were trying to take things off his plate and he's having all these ideas, I think you guys did a video series called The Zero Turn. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so that was kind of like our big things. He put out on his Landscape Business Course Landscape Business Course podcast that he was going to have a contest to have 2 people that would get, he'd go and help them if their business was struggling or they wanted to reach another level or the employees wanted to get out of the field. So he'd go help them, but then we'd film it and we'd put it out as content for people to see. So that was that, and we did that in September of 2018. It was pretty cool. And so we got to travel around, see other businesses, see how they operate, see Mike interact with them. And it was just really cool to get out there and see, across the country, different businesses who are in the same industry, how they operate and stuff like that.
So you know him pretty well because you've traveled with him and you've been with him in a lot of different situations. Have you found him to be the same on a personal level with us at Augusta and then also when he travels to other places? Definitely.
Very genuine, and I'm not just saying that, because I work for him. I've known him since kindergarten. He's always just put his head down and worked and stuff. But I've always appreciated, he always has like the long-term vision in mind and has like the company first. So he's not out there like when the company's doing real good, blowing his money on stupid purchases and stuff like that. He's always looking for a way to reinvest it. And he's willing to get down there with the guys and hear their feedback. And he worked out in the field before, so he knows what it's like too.
Right.
So that's something I really appreciate. Is like he set a good example before the people that he's there for the long term and to see the vision of it. So it's easy for you as an employee to buy into that when you see the owner doing that. It's not the owner sitting up on a throne, driving a $100,000 car and rolling out a boy making minimum wage. Yeah. It's not like that. So that's been really positive to see, and I think that really helps. Really genuine.
When you visited those companies, did you see that type of thing there? Like when you went there, how did you feel like reflecting back on us here and what we're doing while you were gone?
Well, it made me really thankful for that interaction, because Mike was always there and you felt like he was just a text away and your opinion was actually valued, Right. And we're like always changing up our systems here. Yeah. And it gets kind of annoying at times, or it got kind of annoying because you're like, can we just keep a policy for like a week, please? Yeah. But it was actually refreshing, seeing other companies, and you're like, man, they've been open just as long, and they're not anywhere close, or they're just stuck in a rhythm, because they won't change anything, right? Because they're afraid of change, so they just get stuck in a rhythm. So it's actually, you're like, man, I actually should be thankful that we're not like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and do you feel like that he has a good balance even though he's pretty young? He's leading people that are my age, which are quite a bit older than him, and a lot of his employees are older than him. So do you think that's been a problem?
I think people could perceive it as a problem, but the thing is, like, it's not like he's just putting out ideas and then saying, do as I say. It's most of the time, or I would say even 100% of the time, it's stuff that's been tested. Yeah. So, like, it's like we've tested this and we've proved that it works or it doesn't work. So like when I say like this doesn't work, it's because we've done it and we've failed, and obviously we've gotten the brunt end of that sometimes. Or it's like we've tried it and it's been a big success. So like the age is like a thing that people could look at and be like, oh, but like at the same time it's like he's not just throwing out ideas because it sounds good or get a lot of views. It's because we've tried it.
Yeah.
You know, the business itself, we've tried it. We've tried it in these scenarios, and we found out if it worked or it doesn't. So I think you can look at the results and see, you know.
Yeah, and I suppose a lot of people wouldn't be able to handle this kind of growth and change because it's very uncomfortable. So like the positions you were thrown into, and me as well, things we've never done before. I was in the medical field, never had done this type of business or anything to do with this industry, and for you it was just for an example, you were thrown into like a large landscaping project where suddenly you're the project manager for lighting and mulch install and a patio and all these things, and maybe you weren't supposed to be in charge, but then the person who was in charge took off and you got stuck with it. And I remember that one project was like 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're way out of your scope of comfort the whole time, and then by the end, I don't know if you remember, but by the end, like you weren't even wanting, you know, there's hundreds of yards of product, so maybe 120 of compost and all these others, and you're not even want to communicate with me, you just want to like be out of the office. And at that time, one thing we've found to really help with that is we're all really tired at the end of the day, and we don't really want to talk to each other anymore. We've dealt with the customers and we're exhausted, and one way we found that helped was to putting notes right on the job so that it's not so exhausting. So Josh would come back, he's dealt with the customer and the guys all day, and then so at the end of this job, he's headed out of town with Mike, I think, to do the zero turn videoing, and I was pretty upset with him. And so he was on the plane and he was texting me, hey, Mike said you're kind of upset with me. And I'm like, yeah, I wasn't getting a lot of communication. And I think that's what's helped our team culture is that we went through those really hard times and figured them out together. Yeah. So now you're a leader. Josh has gone from like in the field. He did deliveries. He's now the trainer of the guys on the mowing crew when they come on. You've been a project manager, and now you're the media guy, and now you're going to be the full-time media guy. So how has that transition, like over time, did you just start taking pictures on the job and videoing, and then Mike pulling you out some to video him?
Yeah, so it was always we always like tried to take for like our monthly vlogs and stuff, take pictures and videos.
Yeah.
We had all the guys doing that. But then I reached out to Mike, you know, and I was like, if you have anything that I can help you with or I can learn from. So sometimes I'd go meet him and he'd show me stuff on like the video editing software.
Right.
And I'd do that. So a lot of it was just time spent in my evenings, going on YouTube, learning stuff, practicing. I'd go out with Mike and we'd shoot stuff, you know, just little videos, and then I'd practice putting them together. So just any opportunity I could take in the last couple of years, you know, so, and then eventually it's just getting to be more and more, and then hopefully that's going to be full time.
Right. So. You mentioned earlier about watching somebody like him and seeing what you could take off their plate, which makes you so much more valuable to the owner if you can, and especially somebody like Mike, who is an entrepreneur. We watch him, we know when he's exhausted or whatever, and we're trying to offer to take things away, and so they always have so many more ideas. So we know now we have him completely out of the field. You're training the guys on mowing, project management, and we all work together to run it so he can be out of the field. But your goal is to kind of completely take over the media so he's not having to film and then spend so much time editing. Yeah.
So basically I just want him to be able to film his podcast, all that stuff, and then I'd come in, take all the files, do all that, upload it, so he wouldn't have to worry about any of that stuff. And I'd take hours off his plate every week. Right. You know, social media, stuff like that. So I would try to come up with as many ideas as I could, and then I'd just be like, hey, you know, I need to give me a few minutes on this and this topic, so then we could meet up, film, and then he could go on this day doing stuff for the company, and I'd go and I'd take care of all that stuff. So he has a vision of what he wants. So have you found it a little bit difficult to work with him when he comes back in and says, hey, I don't like this, I don't like it like that? And sometimes it can be a little hard to get into his brain, but like typically he's pretty forthcoming with what he wants, and usually about once every video he'll chop out a little something that wasn't quite right, but it's just something, you know, it's what he wants,
or maybe he's thinking of something that we don't think
exactly.
of.
So I try to, and then I'll just put that in my memory bank and be like, oh, I remember, if I'm making a new video, I remember last time he didn't really like that style, so I'll try to avoid that. So we need him to be doing that. Like I've taken over like the Facebook and the Instagram, and the same with me. Like if you're artistic, you have your own way of doing things, and he would have his way. So we really try to do it the way he's seeing it in the systems, because we're trying to create systems for the franchisees. So now we do stuff all day long,
and try things because we're always thinking of the franchisees, right? So looking to the future and him just being out working with the franchisees and selling for them, your plan is to be out of the picture by the day-to-day by July of this year.
So I'm going on a little trip in July, and then when I come back from that around like July 11th, 12th.
And this is 2020.
Yeah. That's when I'm going to be full-time media, most likely.
Yeah.
Everything keeps up.
Yeah, it's going pretty crazy. So then I want to talk a little bit about a team culture.
Okay.
And now we do a paid for performance system, which the employees get a % of every job. So they see how many budgeted hours and how much the company's making. In your opinion, if you wanted to get the owner completely out of the day-to-day, could you be an hourly employee? I mean, would that work to have the employees doing that, or do we need them to be more independent?
Right, like you could, but it takes some serious dedication from the employees. And I think you kind of need to incentivize a little bit to make them really consider their actions and stuff, make them think like an owner. So I think the P4P has been really good because now people are thinking, they're seeing it directly reflect on their paycheck. You know, they have the ability to make more. Like they have the base rate, they won't go under, but they have the ability to make more now. So it makes them think about their actions, you know, not wasting time, not doing a bunch of stupid little stuff that just wastes minutes here and there. So it really makes them think like an owner, and they start monitoring and babysitting themselves. So that someone doesn't have to, you know, up above, and then that frees up other people, you know, in management positions to do other things rather than like being paranoid all the time. Like, oh, what's this person doing now?
Right.
And you know, we had people on the team that just when that went into place, when that got implemented, that, you know, I just kind of want to be leisurely and like take it at their own pace and stuff, and they left pretty quickly because they
Did
realized,
we do a trial period?
we did a trial period for
I think it was like 8 months.
It was just a couple months,
Okay.
And then we voted to see if we wanted, and it was pretty much unanimous except for one person, and he left shortly after.
So the people that wouldn't want that would probably be the people that were kind of lollygagging, or maybe wouldn't be motivated to like
get nonchalant,
stuff done,
or like made a lot of mistakes on the properties. Always had to go back to the customer's properties because that just kills your efficiency. So that's typically, that was who didn't want it. It was just people that were just not efficient. So
so to get the owner out of the day-to-day, and everybody thinking like owners, even for myself, I don't have to track where the guys are ever and have to watch, you know, all their times and things, because I feel like we're more partners now. We're all trying to work together to get everything done most efficiently. So as we look to the future, we're really wanting to continue to try a lot of things and fail, and then implement what works for the franchisees. And we're always thinking of them. And we have the fall and the spring off-site meetings for our employees. Our team culture, how has the team culture been when we have to fire somebody? So like if we bring somebody in and we've all worked together to do our best to train them completely, and they don't really fit, how has that been at Augusta, like the communicating of that to bring us to a decision to fire someone?
Right. So I think like all the members at Augusta really look out for each other. So when someone comes in and, you know, they're not pulling their weight or they're being kind of toxic and stuff like that, it gets around pretty quick. And so but it's not like a witch hunt style where just one person doesn't like them, you know, because they chew with their mouth open. So that every person just destroys them and then reports them to the office. It's not like that. It's like
everybody's there to support them.
Right. They're causing like serious problems in the team, or like really not being efficient. So then usually what happens is we'll have every single person work with them and give a report on how it was, unbiased. Just work with them, see how it is, and then give a report on that. And it's nice because, you know, like we've noticed out in the field with you and Mike, it always gets taken very seriously. Like the culture is like the most important thing we have. So if someone is being toxic towards that, we're trying to slip stuff in, like we're gonna do anything to protect that, and we don't want to sacrifice our team culture over one person. So usually if everyone is kind of worked with them, done their best to explain to them what they need to improve
For
on.
sure.
So like that's usually when action will get taken, because just like you just can't have that kind of person around, because just one person can bring the whole thing down if they're just kept around. So.
And not that they wouldn't be a good fit somewhere else.
Right, and
but
they're
just
hard
not for
workers
this.
too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but like it's just like it's a very specific culture, and if you don't fit into it, you're just like, and we're not like a clique, but we're just like, it's the way things go, and and people who love it, and some people just don't fit into it.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It's not the place for them.
Yeah, so for the franchisees, if they were looking at our company and they like our culture and they've come to the summit and you've been on the landscape business course, when they look at somebody like Mike, in your opinion, because you know him really well and have worked with him and traveled with him, do you feel like they could put their trust in him, like to be connected with them and supportive of them, and for a 10-year commitment, really, to be a franchisee?
No, absolutely. I've known Mike for a long time and traveled with him, and I've even had business relation with him, starting from the bottom at Augusta and working up. And every time I've reached out with a concern or felt like the company struggling in a certain aspect, he's always there to listen. And he always makes a good decision for the company. He never makes decisions for himself, it seems like.
Right.
Everything is always made to benefit the company. Like we were saying earlier, every dollar that's made goes back into the company. It's reinvested. All the ideas are for the company in mind. It's not selfish. There's no agenda behind it. It's like, what can I do to make the company better? Or what can I do to make everyone's life a little easier, a little more professional, stuff like that. So that's the theme I've seen with him, his business, personal life, all stuff like that. It's steady. It doesn't change from one to the other. He's not hiding behind anything. Yes. So that's been really refreshing to see. Yeah, and that's kind of my description I give of him.
Yeah. So if you want to check out the links below and listen to all of Mike's content and vet him that way, I know there's been people that have become franchisees and they went through all the content for a couple years to really feel like they could have confidence. It's not the right fit for everyone, but if you like what you've seen working with our team culture and the way we are, and you've met many of us and you would meet us all if you came for training, we'd love for you to check it out. And check out the links below and email me, and I can send you a link to talk to Mike. And I just want to thank Josh for his time today.
No,
we're in a transition period, and lots more will be happening in the future, but we wanted to give you a little window of the last 4 years. Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful day.
You too.